Training camp is underway. The Hall of Fame game already happened, and we have a loaded slate of preseason games coming up. So there are players moving up and down my rankings constantly. Inside today's video, we're going to be talking about 7 players that are moving on up my fantasy rankings based upon training camp news. Before we can get on into things, though, I would like to ask that if you guys are new to the channel and you do end up enjoying today's video, that you please make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. And while you're down there, whether you are new to the channel or not, make sure to leave a like on today's video. It would help me out a ton. So without further ado, let's get into 7 players skyrocketing up my fantasy rankings right now. We begin with my first rankings riser, and that is going to be Jahmyr Gibbs, running back of the Detroit Lions. Current aggregate ADP from ESPN, Sleeper, NFL, and CBS have him as the running back 3 at pick number 5. Now, I have moved Gibbs up from pick number 6 overall in my rankings to pick number 4. Now, he is still technically my running back number 3, but I could honestly see if the drumbeat continues to be so positive on Jahmyr Gibbs that I could end up moving him up to running back 2 ahead of Saquon Barkley. And honestly, I could also see myself even moving him up to being my running back number 1. Now, one of the most positive training camp reports we got was on July 29th. Underdog NFL tweets Lions training camp running back update. Jahmyr Gibbs is usually the first running back on the field with the starters. In past years, you'd often see David Montgomery get the first bulk of carries before Jahmyr Gibbs takes the field, and that is 100% correct. Through Jahmyr Gibbs' first 2 years in the NFL on the Detroit Lions, we would often see Jahmyr Gibbs watching from the corner in the cuck chair while David Montgomery got the work in early with the offense. And it was very frustrating because we know that Jahmyr Gibbs has big play upside anywhere on the field. You could be on your own 1-yard line and that man could take a carry or a check down directly 99 yards to the crib. So we knew the ability was there, but David Montgomery getting in early while Jahmyr Gibbs was on ice watching from the bench was very, very frustrating. And it would, in a way, hold back me from ranking Jahmyr Gibbs as the running back 1, but that does not appear to be the case this season, and they appear to be putting more chips on in front of Jahmyr Gibbs and taking away the metaphorical chips from David Montgomery. Now, is David Montgomery going to be a 0 in this offense? Of course not. He's going to vulture Jahmyr Gibbs a couple times, and it's going to make you mad, but if Jahmyr Gibbs is able to get onto the field on the first offensive drive for the Lions, which is something that, again, wasn't really the case in the past, where they would have whole drives, sometimes a whole first quarter where Jahmyr Gibbs doesn't even grace the field. That gives us a very strong indicator that Jahmyr Gibbs is going to see a whole lot more usage. Another positive tweet comes from Adam Levitan. Despite his pass-catching skill set, Jahmyr Gibbs saw just 3.7 targets per game in 2024, even with David Montgomery missing 3 games. We have heard this in the past, right? The running backs are going to be going out wide. They're going to play wide receiver, and it's absolutely nonsense. But I do think this athletic observation, as Adam Levitan notes, definitely is something to look at. Lions working to unlock Jahmyr Gibbs' playmaking ability. Gibbs spent part of his time this week with wide receivers coach Scotty Montgomery, running routes for individual drills before rejoining the backs. I've seen the Lions start Gibbs in the backfield and motion him out into the slot. I've seen him start in the slot and line up at running back. He's run wheel routes, Texas routes, quick outs, slants, and more while still handling his backfield duties. It's become a common thing to see him share the field with Montgomery too. So if he is just getting out there more for pass catching opportunities, that is greatly going to push his value up. Jahmyr Gibbs has undeniable talent. I don't need to sit here and stroke on the metaphorical skin flute of Jahmyr Gibbs for you to know how good he is, right? Back-to-back seasons, he has been a top 8 running back in points per game, running back 1 overall last season, and the running back 2 in points per game. Losing Ben Johnson does definitely hurt, but I don't think that is going to be the nail in the coffin for Jahmyr Gibbs potentially finishing as the RB1. In terms of efficiency, the efficiency stats are beautiful. Like Megan Fox at the beginning of the Transformers movie when she's working on the car. 4th in fantasy points per opportunity, 3rd in true yards per carry, 3rd in yards per touch, 2nd in explosive rating, and 8th in yards created per touch. I believe that this is going to be the best season yet out of Jahmyr Gibbs. Next up, we move to another running back with Omarion, Chris Breezy, Hampton, running back of the Los Angeles Chargers. Current ADP running back 17 at pick 44. So if you're in a 12-team league, he goes in the 4th round with the 8th pick. Hampton is now up to my running back 13. I think he is clearly a 3rd round pick at this point, and you can get him currently inside of the 4th round. August 4th, Chargers running back Najee Harris's eye is getting better, and he's walking laps as part of rehab per head coach Jim Harbaugh. He still has no timeline to return. Running laps. He's not out there with the team practicing. He's doing laps. He's not even running the laps. He's walking laps. That doesn't sound very good for Najee Harris's ability to be in the game in week 1. And the more and more days we get closer and closer to the season without Najee Harris gives me even more confidence that Omarion Hampton will be locked and loaded as the starter for the season. And they're not just magically going to insert Najee Harris into there because Najee just joined the team for the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's not like Najee's been on the Chargers for a few years. So obviously, it sucks that Najee Harris had that incident on 4th of July with the fireworks, but ultimately, this is what opened the door wide open for Omarion Hampton to be the clear guy. Najee Harris was walking around again today in a helmet. This report is from August 5th, so he's walking around. This time he's got a helmet on. He is still not out there practicing with the team, which again pushes me even more into believing that Omarion Hampton's the guy week 1, because before this ended up happening, before the 4th of July, I thought Hampton was a steal in drafts and he would eventually take over, but now it's very clear that he's going to be the guy in week 1. The talent is there. He was the 22nd overall pick in the 2025 NFL draft. He played 13 games in 2024 at North Carolina, UNC, as a 21-year-old, 281 rushes for 1,660 yards, 5.9 yards per carry, and 15 touchdowns, 38 receptions for 373 yards and 2 touchdowns. He is not a one-hit wonder either. Sophomore season in 2023, 13 games, 250 plus carries, 1,500 plus yards, and 15 touchdowns with 29 receptions for 222 yards and a touchdown. I think it's also important just to understand how good the Chargers are at running the football. Last year with J.K. Dobbins as the lead back in LA for the Chargers, and this isn't prime J.K. Dobbins. He gets injured, fucking brushing his teeth. He accidentally chokes on the toothbrush. This is a guy that goes to tie his shoes and he ends up breaking his foot, right? This is a watered down version of J.K. Dobbins. And as the lead back last year, he had 3 of 13 games with over 20 PPR points, 5 of 13 games with over 18 PPR points, and 7 of 13 games with 15 plus PPR points. So what do you think that Omarion Hampton is going to do in this offense? He is going to dominate belt to ass, game in and game out. And I feel very confident in Hampton right now. Every day that Najee Harris is out brings me closer to ranking Omarion Hampton potentially inside the top 12. He's knocking on the door right now as my running back number 13. If he falls to the 4th round in your league, you need to take him there every single time. Next up, we move to Travis Hunter, wide receiver of the Jacksonville Jaguars, current ADP wide receiver 28 at pick 61, currently going as the first pick inside of the 6th round. I have moved Hunter from outside of my top 40 wide receivers to the wide receiver 31. I am still technically off of him based upon ADP, right? Because he's coming off the board as the wide receiver 28. I've got him as the wide receiver 31, but I am definitely more likely to take that upside shot on him. And if he was to fall, I am definitely a lot more comfortable taking him. Say he falls to the 605, the 606, I am much more likely to click the draft button on Travis Hunter. Now, if you guys want access to my rankings that I've been speaking about in today's video, both the full PPR and the half PPR rankings, you can check out the Patreon link in the video description. You sign up for 1 month for $12.50. You get access to the full PPR and the half PPR rankings that are updated all of the time. If you would like to get them for slightly cheaper, if you sign up on Underdog using promo code Notorious, you receive a free pick plus a first-time deposit offer of up to $1,000 in bonus cash, as well as getting my draft guide sent to your email the day after you end up signing up. I love Underdog. It's the best place to do best ball drafts. If you don't know what best ball is, it's the best part about fantasy football. It's the draft, and that's it. There's no waivers, no trades, no in-season management. Underdog automatically puts the highest scores in your lineup at the end of every single week, so make sure you guys do check that out. Promo code Notorious, and you can join in on the Best Ball Mania Fund. $2 million to first place, $25 million to enter, and I'm ripping drafts on there all the time, so you might even be able to get into a draft with me. And again, the rankings are in the link in the description as well. So with Travis Hunter, I was pretty off on him, honestly, because I just wanted to keep it safe. I wanted to see what the news was going to tell me about training camp, about how he's working with this team, both offensively and defensively, before I made a strong prediction, because I love what Travis Hunter does on the field. I think Travis Hunter is an insane athlete. I think Travis Hunter deserved the Heisman last year at Colorado. I think Travis Hunter deserves all of the fame that has been thrown at him. But there was a big worry for me. How much is he playing offense versus how much is he going to play defense? Is the fact that he's playing on defense going to inhibit him from playing a lot of the snaps? And maybe you end up being left out to dry with Travis Hunter in his rookie year. Now, Coach Speak Index tweets out, this is a clip from the Rich Eisen show. Now, I can't show the actual clip on Twitter, but 80% of offensive snaps for Travis Hunter is what Liam Cohen said on the show yesterday on August 5th, which is a very strong indicator that, sure, while Travis Hunter is going to be playing on defense, they want to get him cooking with the offense. And I think while 80% of snaps might scare some people, what I think that's going to mean is they'll probably end up pulling him out like a couch when they are going to run the ball, right? When they're going to hand the ball to Bigsby, ETN, Baishal, Tutin, and when they actually want to be throwing the football, they're going to have Travis Hunter out there. Again, the upside is just too much for me to completely fade him. I do believe he is still very much a heavy boom or bust option weekly, because there are going to be some weeks where he's locking down your favorite wide receiver potentially, and he's not playing as much offense, and it's going to be very frustrating. But the upside is so high from a week in, week out standpoint that I think Travis Hunter deserves to be picked in this range. 2024 at Colorado, his Heisman year, 96 receptions on 125 targets for 1,258 yards, 13.1 yards per reception, and 15 receiving touchdowns with a 26% target share and a 76.8% catch rate. He really only started playing wide receiver at the college level back in 2023 when he transferred from Jackson State to Colorado. So I've always been a big fan of Travis Hunter. I was just worried about his usage, and it seems like his usage on offense is going to be very solid, which makes me want to draft him. Next up, we got TreVeyon Henderson, running back of the New England Patriots. Current ADP running back 23 at pick 64, the 604. Henderson has moved from around the running back 28-ish range to my running back 22, moving up a whole tier at the running back position. Now, previously, I was being a bit of a poussey. I was being a bit scared when it came to drafting TreVeyon Henderson, because while I think the talent was incredible, I worry about how much they're going to use Ramondre Stevenson and the fact that they paid Ramondre Stevenson recently, and maybe they're going to look to just squeeze every ounce of him like an orange. Some pulp, shout out Tony Soprano, just squeeze it all out, use all of them, and then say, hit the road, Jack, don't you come back no more, kick him to the curb at the end of the season, and then it's going to be TreVeyon Henderson's season in 2026. But every single report I see about TreVeyon Henderson, every single video I see is basically just people chortling the balls, just absolutely massaging this dude's nutsack like his name was Deshaun Watson. Mike Vrabel on the Patriots running back TreVeyon Henderson. He's a quick learner. If there's something that happens in protection, he rarely makes the same mistake twice. He plays with effort when he doesn't have the ball. Vrabel says the rookie is capable of playing different positions. Jordan Schultz. There's a lot of excitement within the Patriots circles about rookie running back TreVeyon Henderson. Everyone knew about his home run speed and explosiveness, but multiple team sources have also emphasized his elite pass catching and pass protection abilities. Words like special and difference maker have been used to describe him. Surely feels like New England have a super dynamic young back for Drake May to lean on. Shout out to Major Laser. I have read Henderson described from other places, on Twitter, on Roto World, on the interwebs, the World Wide Web, as being described as one of the top performers in training camp. Every clip I watch, I'm looking at this guy like this motherfucker should just play receiver. He should. He is that lethal in the receiving game. He is cutting up the defense like his name was O.J. Simpson. I'm looking at him, and you want to know who I see? I see Jahmyr Gibbs. Now, I don't want to get too high for his rookie year, but man, I really love what I'm seeing, and I think I have the potential to have been very wrong with what I said earlier, so I'm going to correct it now and push more onto the TreVeyon Henderson bandwagon. He was the 38th overall pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, second round draft capital, 16 games played at Ohio State, and he wasn't just the only back there. They had Quinshon Judkins as well, 144 carries for 1,016 yards and 10 touchdowns, 27 receptions for 284 yards and a touchdown. To me, the upside is too high to stay away. It might take a while, right? If you play him in week one, right? You're like, week one, TreVeyon Henderson's in my lineup. He might up fucking you directly in the ass. He easily could because it's early on in the season. But I think if you hold him, if you stay true, you hold the line, you do not sell diamond hands, you can end up with something great in your hands. So I'm definitely trying to be more onto TreVeyon Henderson because, again, it's important to, sure, understand what I thought before. It is still true, right? Ramondre Stevenson's going to be very annoying for Henderson. He's going to get usage on the goal line, and it's going to piss you off, but the upside is too high to avoid him. And again, all of the training camp updates are just pushing me closer and closer to absolutely loving Henderson this season. Next up, we move to Mark Andrews, tight end of the Baltimore Ravens. Current ADP tight end 7 at pick 71, going at the end of the 6th round. He moved up from my tight end 8 to my tight end number 9, or to my tight end number 6. I apologize. I guess I flipped the 6, turned the 6 upside down. It's a 9 now. Shout out to Drake. And when you move someone from tight end 8 to tight end 6, that might not sound like a big difference, right? It's just a couple of spots. It moves him up multiple rounds in ADP inside of the draft. Now, why have I moved up Mark Andrews? It's because Ravens standout tight end Isaiah Likely will have surgery this week from July 30th, so last week, to fix a broken bone in his foot. Sources say the belief is he's out about 6 weeks, though depending on outcome, it could be fewer. While Likely could be ready for week 1, the best news is it is not long-term. So he is far from a lock to being available in week 1 for the Ravens. And the more and more time Mark Andrews is able to develop his strong connection that he already has with Lamar Jackson to be the clear tight end 1 on the team is just further going to push Isaiah Likely away from playing a bunch of snaps. And it's important to note that in 2023, Mark Andrews ended up having surgery on his ankle in Charlotte with specialist Robert Anderson, which meant that he did start off last season incredibly slow, and that is why he was coming off of the surgery in late November in 2023. He really didn't do jack shit for your fantasy team until about week 5, and even then it was just 9.5 fantasy points. Then he started to really pick things up after that. So the slow start to his season is easily understood when you look under the microscope and you realize that he was coming off of an injury. Weeks 1 through 9, he was the tight end 16 in points per game, averaging just 8.5. And then weeks 10 through 18, when he really started playing well, he was the tight end 6 in points per game, averaging 14 PPR points per game. So again, I get why people like Isaiah Likely, and I think Isaiah Likely is a talented player, but with him injured, I think that really clears a strong path towards Andrews starting off strong. And as long as he does start off strong, I think he's going to keep that positive momentum going as the clear tight end 1 on this team. Tight end 6 in PPR, tight end 7 in PPR points per game last season. 6 of 7 seasons inside of the top 7 in terms of points per game. Last season, I get, again, were the stats 100% amazing? No, but the efficiency was still there, which tells us he is still on top of his game, even though he's getting a little bit older. He was 4th in true catch rate, 3rd in yards per target, 5th in yards per reception, 6th in dominator rating, 2nd in fantasy points per route, and 1st in fantasy points per target. So I'm still a big believer in Mark Andrews, and with Isaiah Likely potentially missing the start of the season, that is really going to push Mark Andrews forward onto the right foot. Next up, we move to Jaydon Bonnie Blue, running back of the Dallas Cowboys. Running back 44 off the board right now, pick 145. the first pick inside of the 13th round. He is now my running back 34, up from the running back 50 range. August 4th, Jaydon Blue training camp update. He's been standing out more and more lately and has gotten some first-team reps. I have read some reports about Javonte Williams that don't sound very positive as well. He's currently competing with Javonte Williams, Miles Sanders, and Phil Maffa. Now, a Coach Speak Index tweet from July 30th says this: on what excites Schottenheimer about Jaydon Blue's skill set, the speed, the dynamic playmaking ability, I think he's a dual threat guy. You can hand him the ball, and he doesn't need a lot of space to make people miss. His acceleration is uncanny. His ability to get to top speed is unique. He's such a talented young man. What I like is that he's a professional, that he's shown in training camp. He's here, and he's like, okay, I think it's kind of go time. I had a little bit of a learning curve in this offseason program and all this new language. I think he's much more comfortable with what we're doing, so you're seeing him play faster, freer, and more confident. They also wrote that Jaydon Blue, this is from offensive coordinator Clayton Adams, Jaydon Blue has been awesome. He's fun to be around. He loves football. He's extremely competitive. When the ball's in his hands, exciting things happen. He's blossoming. So there's potential for him to be the guy in week 1. And even if he's not, based on what we've seen out of Miles Sanders and Javonte Williams, it might not take too long for him to become the guy that you want out of the Dallas Cowboys backfield. 2024 at Texas, 15 games played at 20 years old, 134 carries for 730 yards, 42 receptions for 368 yards, and 14 total touchdowns. With all of this positive hype for Jaydon Blue, it's worth taking the shot on him as the running back 44 at pick 145. Just because it's not a guarantee that he's the running back 1 for week number 1 doesn't really matter when you're picking a guy this late because of how the coach speak is pushing us towards wanting to draft him. If the coaches like him, he's going to get onto the field. Final guy here is going to be Keenan Allen, wide receiver of the LA Chargers. ADP, he's currently undrafted from wide receiver 65 when he was on a team because I anticipated he would eventually sign, and he's now my wide receiver 48. So I haven't put him into a range where you're forcing yourself to draft him, but if he does fall late in drafts, I do think he's worthy of a shot. The Chargers signed wide receiver Keenan Allen to 1 year, $8.52 million deal, a reunion with the LA Chargers. Last year in Chicago, he played in 15 games. He was the wide receiver 34 in PPR, wide receiver 36 in PPR points per game. He had 121 targets, 8.1 per game, number 17 a wide receiver, 70 receptions, 4.7 per game, 26th, 744 receiving yards, 49.6 per game, 39th, and 7 total touchdowns, 20th. He had 5 games last season, 5 of 10 games with 20 plus PPR points, which is awesome. But the kicker is in the other 10 games, he didn't even score more than 10 PPR points. Every single game outside of those 5 with 20 plus points, he scored fewer than 10 PPR points. I don't want to get too high on the supply of Keenan Allen because, again, he didn't show much consistency, but when he flashed in a great way. Girls Gone Wild season. So I am excited about what I saw about Keenan Allen last season. But again, there are clear negatives, right? He didn't look the same as he did previously in his career with the Chargers. If you look back to his last year as a Charger, PFF tweets he had 108 receptions, 5th, 1,243 receiving yards, 11th, 2.36 yards per out run, 11th, 87.4 receiving grade, 11th. Prior to last year, he put up 8 of 9 seasons as a top 13 wide receiver in points per game. The only year where he fell outside of that was the year in which he got hurt in week number 1 against the Chiefs back in 2016. So is Keenan Allen the old Keenan Allen? I don't think so. But if you're looking to draft a guy that should very clearly be the wide receiver 2 on the team, ahead of Quentin Johnston, Stone Hands himself, ahead of Trey Harris, I think that's the case. So if you need a guy, any given week, you could throw him in your lineup. Sure, he might score 7 points, right? He easily could, but he could also whip out the hammer, pause, and drop a 25-plus point performance. So Keenan Allen, am I all over him? Pause, Fuck no, baby. But I do definitely think he's worthy of a late round shot. So thank you guys all so much for watching today's video. If you ended up enjoying, make sure you hit that subscribe button like it owes you some money. Leave a like on today's video. It helped me out a ton. Make sure you guys check out Underdog, promo code Notorious. Get your free pick. Get a first-time deposit offer of up to $1,000 in bonus cash, and get my draft guide with a $10 deposit. If you want my draft guide, you're already on Underdog. You don't want to sign up for Underdog, use the Patreon link in the video description, $12.50 to get it for the month. I love you long time. I hope you have a great one. Check out one of the videos on the screen if you haven't seen them already. And as always, good boy.